like a Hellcat.
Oh. Huh. Hey guys. So me and my brother, we're both watching this. So here we
It
go.
all started when I was 7 years old. I used to live in a small neighborhood with a large amount of woods next to our town. One day, my parents left me at home with my brother while they dropped my other brother off at football practice. That was the starting point. They had to stop abruptly in the middle of the road in the woods when they were driving back home. And that memory has been bothering my dad. Even now, he said. He said that he definitely saw something that day and remembered what it looked like. It was an extremely thin figure, around 7 to 8 feet tall. He was sure that it wasn't a bear, because when it saw their car, the thing stood up on two legs and ran away with a strange form. It had lots of blotches on certain parts of its body, while other parts were losing hair, or had none at all. And its back looked broken and poorly arched when it ran back into the woods. When my parents had warned me about it, even then, I never knew what it was. After I turned 10 years old, one day I had to stay home alone while my parents went to visit my uncle. So I invited 7 of my friends over, who all called Bella, Riley, Max, John, Kayla, Shannon, and Penelope. We had fun playing video games, watching movies, and things like that until midnight. Then I suddenly remembered that thing my dad had seen a few years ago. Hey, why don't we go searching for that creature? Looking at each other, we thought it would be a fun idea to try. So we grabbed our flashlights and headed out into the woods.
There's more than 7
Once
people.
we walked in, everything mysteriously got way creepier, and the weird sounds got louder. The whole area was totally dark, and the fear of getting lost was affecting all of us. Suddenly, we heard a loud crunching noise. We shined the flashlight in the direction of the sound, and finally, we saw it. There were some dead carcasses of deer, and I could see that there was some other big animal. At first, I thought it might be a bear that was eating off of those carcasses. However, that's not what it was. The thin, hairy, and almost 8-foot-tall creature was there. It looked at us with its blood-stained, sharp teeth and bloodshot eyes. Then it slowly got up and let out a penetrating howl. Not caring if branches hit us or if we got cut or bruised, we all screamed and ran away through the woods. We didn't know whether it was chasing after us or not, but we didn't care. We just needed to get back home as soon as possible. Finally, we jumped over the creek that was right in front of my house, ran up the hill into my house, and then locked the door. Everybody all right? Breathing hard, I looked at my friends, and then I realized something. Penelope was gone. We must have lost her in the woods somewhere as we ran away. Being terrified, I pulled out my cell phone with trembling hands, called 911, and told them about our situation. Within 15 minutes, paramedics, police, and our parents arrived. We explained again what we had seen and what happened to Penelope. The police searched the entire forest, but never found the thing or Penelope either. The only thing that had been discovered was some bloodstains of hers. Well, I'm 12 years old now, and none of us speak about what happened that day. The search for Penelope has been going on, but I'm positive that she's dead. Not just me. We all do. I recently did research on the thing, and noticed that many other people had gone missing in my woods, mostly kids, and Penelope's disappearance made her the 8th child to go missing in those woods. I now no longer go into my woods because I'm afraid that if I do, that thing will find me one day, and I will end up like Penelope.
Okay. So, what do you think about that?
I think that's a load of bogus.
You want to find out?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think it would.
I thought it was strong enough to fight a boxer.
Yeah, well, the thing is 8 feet tall. Well, that's probably exaggerated because in the moment when you see it, you can't exactly really tell how big it is, considering the fact that it's adrenaline that is going and you want to get the hell out of there. So, with all that being said, I would bring a shotgun and a rifle and a AR and pretty much everything that I can get my hands on.
No, bring a tank. Run its ass over.
Sure, whatever. Okay, let's go to the next one. The girl.
My name is Caitlin. This incident happened when I was 14 years old, and I will never forget this memory. One day, I was at home alone at my house. My mom was still at the office late at night, and my two siblings were at my grandparents' house, which was kind of far away from my home. At first, I was just enjoying my time alone, watching Netflix and doing some fun stuff. However, after a while, I got pretty bored, so I decided to invite some of my friends over. I asked my mom for permission and then called my friends to invite them over. A few moments later, while I was waiting for them, I heard a loud bang upstairs. I was sure that there was no one else upstairs. So I stood up and looked up the stairs with an anxious look on my face. When I was near the stairs, I could see that one of my dolls had fallen. I picked it up, and when I straightened my back, something caught my attention. A little girl was standing upstairs. Well, I could feel that she was staring at me, even though I couldn't see her face clearly due to the darkness. I was terrified, and then someone rang the doorbell. I ran to see who it was, and luckily, my friends had arrived. Thank God. It was a moment of relief that my friends came over at the right time. Soon I got my mind off of the girl I saw. We sat down in the living room and had fun talking with each other. An hour later, one of my friends suggested that we should take some pictures together, so we gathered around one another. We took several selfies while laughing and chatting. Later, as we scrolled through the pictures, we found something. There was a little girl standing behind our couch. What made us even more terrified was the fact that she had no face. I mean, her face was just an empty darkness. No eyes, no nose, and no mouth. Being terrified, I told Cassie to delete that picture right away. However, she said that something was wrong with her cell phone. I snatched the phone out of her hands and tried to delete it. But no matter what we tried, we couldn't delete the picture. Then we heard loud thumps. It sounded like someone's footsteps were coming from upstairs, and our light was flickering on and off at the same time. We thought that we couldn't stay inside anymore, so we rushed outside in a hurry. One of my friends, Christina, suddenly pointed at my bedroom window and said that there was someone in there. I raised my eyes up and followed her finger, and there she was. It was the same faceless girl we had seen in the picture. My friends and I screamed. I called my mom and explained everything. My mom couldn't believe what I told her, so she made me calm down and said that she would be home in 5 minutes. After she arrived home, she searched the entire house, but she couldn't find any trace of the girl. I hoped that it was just our imagination. However, we soon decided to move out of the house because I kept seeing the girl after that incident. We finally moved, and from then on, my mom never wanted me to be home alone, so I always stayed with my siblings. I still have no clue why the girl haunted me, but I think it was because she wanted us to get out of the house. Well, I'm just glad that I don't see that girl in my new house.
Nice.
Creepy as fuck.
This happened to me
Yeah,
while I was on my way
definitely.
home one night. I was living in an apartment at the time. When I arrived on the first floor of my building, there was a piece of paper hanging on the wall that said that the elevator was out of service. No, not again, I said to myself. I lived on a pretty high floor, so without any other choice, I had to walk up the stairs. I was walking up the stairs out of sheer desperation, and all of a sudden, I heard something. Then I began to feel uneasy. I knew that crimes often occurred around my neighborhood, especially targeting people who were alone. When I listened closely, I could hear a pair of men's shoes and a pair of women's high heels walking at the same time. I assumed that it was a couple. You guys are having a hard time like me. I'm struggling to walk up the stairs, especially this late at night. I thought to myself. I sighed with relief and turned my head around. However, I will never forget what I saw at that moment. There was a man who was crawling with a pair of men's shoes on his feet and a pair of high heels on his hands. He was crawling towards me. This happened a few years ago in the neighborhood I grew up in. When I was around 6 years old, there was an incident where an old man who lived right in front of my house was murdered by a robber. Not only did the robber steal all his money, but he also stabbed him brutally with a knife and then ran away. According to the police, the crime scene was as horrible as it sounds, and unfortunately, to this day, the robber still hasn't been caught. When they moved the old man's dead body and passed by my house, my mom covered my eyes with her hands so that I wouldn't see it. Nevertheless, I could see my neighbor's face through the gap between my mom's fingers. After that, even after a few months had passed, the old man's house wasn't sold. It was because there were a few strange rumors spreading around the neighborhood about his house. Some said that people would always hear the old man's coughing and sobbing coming from inside whenever it rained. 10 years later, all of the people who moved into his house had to leave, and now his house is being used as a warehouse.
Creepy.
When I was in high school, I was crazy about a boy band and used to stay up late at night watching their videos. Because of this, I used to fall asleep at around 3 or 4 a.m. The town I lived in was sort of a new city under construction, so it was really quiet and there was no one outside during that time. One night, it was around 3 a.m. I suddenly heard a woman singing outside. It was an old song, and the strange thing was that the woman was singing just one part of the song over and over again. She didn't move on to the next section. She would just start singing, pause for a minute, and then continue singing again. Out of curiosity, I opened the window and was about to sing the next verse of the song to surprise her. However, before that, I sent a text message to my friend. Hey, someone is singing outside and keeps repeating the same part. LOL, should I sing along with her? Not long after, my friend responded, and then I had to shut the window quietly because I was terrified. The text said, "Don't do that. That's a ghost. When ghosts find someone to harm, they first sing and then wait for the person to sing along."
Well, um,
That's creepy as fuck.
yeah, it really is. So I'm going to stop the video here. This is the first part of an hour-long video that I'll continue later on. But, yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Bye.
Bye-bye.
I know what you fantasize about.